Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on the Chopin Etude in D-flat major, Op.25 No.8. This is kind of exciting because this concludes all of our tutorials for the Chopin Etudes Op.25, and I have one left, Op.10 No.10, to complete both sets of Chopin Etudes. I still need to do the Op.27 Etudes by Chopin after this, but pretty exciting. This is 23 out of 24 for the Chopin Etude tutorials. I have so much to say about this Etude, but let's go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to play a little bit of this to kick off this tutorial. Okay, so that just gives you a little flavor of what the Etude sounds like. Obviously, there are many recordings online that you can listen to. The first thing I want to say is I think that this Etude is dangerous if you don't apply the right concepts. Because we are playing parallel sixths, in fast succession, I think that this can be something that a student could be prone to injury with if they practiced it endlessly and they had a lot of tension. So I've written out 6 different tips that I want to go over just to start this tutorial out and to get us started on the right track. By the way, the edition that I recommend using, I just printed it out so we wouldn't have to do page turns. I just made a copy of it, but the edition I recommend, I really like the fingerings in the National Chopin edition. It's edited by Jan, Jan Ekier, Ekeier. It's what they recommend for the International Chopin competition as well, so you really can't go wrong with this edition. Other editions that I've used the Paderewski edition, and I've also used the Schirmer edition edited by, I believe it was Arthur Friedheim. That's the one I grew up learning on. So I like a lot of the fingerings in that edition too, but I think this is probably the best. As I went through this again to prepare for this tutorial, because I haven't played this for, well over a decade, besides just the last few days preparing this for this tutorial, I got this newer score out that I didn't have when I was younger, and I do really like these fingerings. So that's the first piece of advice. Okay, let's get into the mechanics of playing parallel sixths, and I want to start with just even a more basic discussion of movement at the piano. Big thanks to my friend Robert Dorso. We had a great discussion on this. He's a Taubman teacher, and we were talking about efficient ways to move. So you've got basically 4 ways to move at the piano. You can move side to side, you can move up and down, you can move in and out, and then you have basic rotation, like you're turning a doorknob. Now, there's other things that you can do at the piano. You can kind of have this type of motion, kind of this motion, but we want to avoid like twisting too much because that can put our hand in a really tense position. We want to be thinking of that to kind of round phrases with. Okay, so those are your 4 types of motion. One more time: up, down, lateral motion, in and out, and you could go forwards and backwards too with the whole mechanism. Try not to just come up in a tight way with your wrist. And then the rotation, okay? So that's the first thing we want to do. And then the second thing that we want to do is we want to find our balance when we're playing parallel sixth. And second of all, we want to immediately start voicing as well. And these actually go hand in hand. So I have a couple of exercises for you. One of the most basic things I learned when I was 9 years old from my teacher is this voicing exercise, which is where you play the tops legato and forte, and you play the bottom staccato and soft. Okay? And by the way, I'm going to give you some fingering suggestions in here. Okay? And as you can see, that's already a good way to start training so you're not playing... Can't even do it the wrong way. Not playing too much bottom note like that. And you can even see just these little in and out motions. I generally go in when I need to be playing that thumb, like my shorter fingers, thumb and pinky, on these black keys. Now, I generally go in a little bit more with my thumb when I have to play on the black keys, because it's the opposable thumb, so it's kind of out at this weird angle. So yes, you can go in for pinkies a little bit, but you want to focus even more, just in my opinion, on going in a little bit for the thumb. And you don't want to jerk your hand forward like that. You want to do it in a smooth motion. My teacher at Michigan, Logan Skelton, always told me that. He's like, Josh, you're playing, and then all of a sudden, he's like, it just all of a sudden goes forward so fast. He's like, just smooth that out. By the way, the reason I reference all of my teachers and friends who have helped me, like Robert Dorso or Logan Skelton or Sergei Babayan or Susan Dolmeyer or my wife or whoever I learn these things from, is because I really feel like, and we're getting a little philosophical here, but I feel like good concepts should be shared, and I always want to give credit where credit's due. But I also, with this channel and these Pro Practice tutorials, want to cultivate a tradition or a culture of sharing. I find that a lot of pianists are very secretive. I don't hold back on any of these tutorials, sharing as much knowledge as I know how on these pieces. So do the same for your friends. Anyway, back to the tutorial. So that little voicing exercise can really help, but I want to combine it with something I haven't talked very much on this channel, which is this little exercise I made up for someone in one of my Pro Practice courses, and they were having a hard time. They said, I always feel like I'm always stretched out. This is the reason this etude can be particularly dangerous, because if you're always in this horribly stretched out position, especially if you have really small hands, again, I really wouldn't recommend this as a starting etude, especially for those with small hands. This might be an etude to be avoided, actually, because this etude, in sixths, you can use rotation more easily. This, of course, we're still using rotation, but we're still in more spread out positions, because you can't play the whole piece 5-1, because that's going to get you super tight and you just won't have the speed. So this little exercise I made up, I just call it the finger touching exercise. It just combines nicely with that voicing exercise. What you do, you just touch all your fingers together, and then you re-spread out to go into your position, and then touch your fingers together. And see, and this also promotes a good rotational concept, because we don't want to be twisting away from the thumb. That's another thing that Dr. Dorso and I have discussed, is, you know, how pianists get out of balance when we twist away from our thumb rather than rotating toward the thumb. Another thing that Skelton and I talked a lot about at Michigan is rotating toward the thumb is so comfortable. So this exercise, this little finger touching exercise I made up, actually promotes you rotating to the thumb as well, because you're going to always do that. Now, when you think of rotating towards the thumb, a couple of things. You don't want to be going and over-rotating. This is minimized. You probably can't even see it there, but I'm just feeling a nice balance because I am rotating that way. Additionally, if you're struggling with that concept, this is another fun little exercise. This little wrist bouncing exercise. I've given this for many, many years to my students, like when they're struggling with double thirds. It's the exact advice you usually don't give beginning students who are playing like Mary Had a Little Lamb, because they start just playing with their wrist. But what this does, this helps you to feel like you're resetting that and not tangling your hand up and getting too tight here. Your hand can actually move because it's using this whole mechanism. Okay, and these same concepts can be applied to left hand. I don't really think that you need to do the voicing exercise in the left hand, but using this rotation, I'm kind of coming up and around and then back down. Again, I'm going in a little bit for that thumb, and then this one I just kind of do this this over rotation, back and forth. Also, I think of this as part of the motion up to here. A lot of students will isolate that. They'll go, and they'll freak out and be really tight in their hand. And then when they get here, they don't stand a chance of playing this in a relaxed way, okay? So think of one long shape up and down. And this one can just kind of go back and forth. And then a long shape up and down. And then... Okay, so that gets you feeling a little bit more balanced. Tip number 3 of these